Hey everyone, it's Colin from GIY Guy. Thanks for checking out today's video. You can see probably the massive growth of blackberries behind me that I've been procrastinating cleaning up for about a month now. We've been getting ready to list the house and take care of all the maintenance stuff with that as we prepare it for a rental. This will probably be my last video in Greensboro because we're moving to Nashville, hopefully July 14th. But in today's video, I wanted to show you the canes that fruited this year and kind of compare them with the new canes that popped up this year. And then I want to show you how to clean up your blackberry patch. The second year canes have fruited. You can see they're green, but they're starting to die back. They'll definitely be dead this fall, but we're going to just pull them out and leave plenty of room for the new canes to grow in. Probably the biggest thing I learned about blackberry growing is not to expect much from your first year canes, or the first generation canes. I'll call it first gen because you had first year canes last year and now they're second year canes this year that have fruited. But I expected to get multiple handfuls of blackberries at least. We had a bajillion flowers. It looked like it was going to be a massive harvest, but then once they started growing the fruit, it was like 3 little juice pockets on kind of a little nub of a blackberry. So really I only got maybe 3 half blackberries, if you want to even call them blackberries. They didn't look like anything. It wasn't even worth making a video on the harvest because there was no harvest. I just left everything on the plants and let the birds eat them. So one thing you can expect as your blackberry plants mature is some freebies. You'll get little plants that kind of pop up where you don't really want them. If you just let this all fill out, it will definitely get full. But if you want to keep a maintained blackberry bed, I definitely suggest you either pull these out, cut them down, or if you want to expand your blackberry patch for free, dig them up and stick them in another spot. So I'm going to show you how to do just that with these example plants right here. So we've got, sorry about the weeds, but we've got a little blackberry here. And it's actually split into 2 separate canes, I think. But I'm going to get as close to it as I can on my border. And I'm just going to try to dig it up like this. So I felt it cut the root. And so we're just going to dig it up, get something like this, maybe 4 or 5 inches deep. Try to save as much of the root ball as you can. And then we can open this back, and I'm not going to actually transplant this, so I'll just rip it out and show you what it's doing. But there, right here, I think was where it was connecting to the main base of the original plant. But then you can see we've got some roots coming off of there. So it might go ahead and take root if you planted this. I would try to capture a little bit more of the root base though. This one might not have a very good chance of surviving. So instead of spending another $30 or $40 for a bundle of bare root plants, just wait till your plants mature and then you can transplant those as you'd like to expand your patch. For the next part of this video, you're definitely going to want some thick gloves and you're going to need a pair of pruners because we are going to cut out the already fruited second year canes and just get rid of them, make space for all our new stuff to grow this year. Now one thing about pruning out old growth is that you want to get rid of anything that's got any evidence of disease on it. So it's kind of hard to tell what's diseased and what's just dying back, but when I look at this, I look at anything that's kind of yellowed like this with spots. That has a good chance of being anthracnose, which is a fungus that'll spread throughout the rest of your plant. So if you prune these back, don't throw them in your compost pile, just throw them straight onto a burn pile because this will spread if you let it. So as we get ready to prune the old canes, which are pretty ugly looking, it looks like they got some anthracnose, but this one here is going to go. We'll take out a couple of these small new ones just because they're wasted energy, and then we've got another one here that we'll prune out. But as we do this, we'll prune it until it's about probably 2 inches above the dirt line, just because if there's any chance that fungus or disease can get into the cut part, I just don't want that sitting too close to the dirt. So we're going to take our snippers, we're going to go ahead and cut this small one out right here, just get him out of the way. And then we're going to take this and cut. They're kind of woody, but yeah, you can see it's got a little bit of green. It's got a little bit of green still on it there, and so I just want to make sure that that doesn't get any disease in it. Again, one of the biggest things with pruning is encouraging airflow, and if you just have a packed house and you have moist environment and not very much wind and not very much sun or whatever, you can easily develop anthracnose, which is what I had last year, and it just makes it so that a lot of your leaves die back and you can't do a lot about it. So it's a lot easier to prevent than it is to get rid of it. I'm just going to clean up some of these lower hanging branches. I like to keep my branches about 1.5 feet, 2 feet above the dirt line, just so stuff doesn't splash up on it. And pruning is not a one-time job either. It is definitely something you have to come back to probably once a month at least, because it grows pretty fast. And even where I've cut off the new growth, it's gonna pop right back up with some different growth that I'll have to trim back if I don't want it to waste energy. So real quick, I wanna give you an appreciation of the new canes compared to the old canes. So here is an old cane. It's very, very small, straggly, pretty bendy and flexible. Now I'm gonna compare that, put that right up next to this new cane. That new cane is just massive, and that has to bear some good fruit next year when it comes harvest time. So I'm excited for that. Hopefully the renters are willing to keep up this patch, that way I can come back and see it, but I won't get my hopes too high. So on the first one, I've kind of trimmed out all the old plants that I want to. Now the real annoying part is gonna be trimming it out of the trellis. So this is gonna have to be kind of done piece by piece. You just wanna make sure that you're not gonna rip the leaves and damage the new plants that just popped up this year. So just a little bit at a time, we're gonna cut this off the trellis, and I kind of wrapped it around as it grew, so just have to pull it apart piece by piece. But this is going to start to clean up really nicely, and you'll be able to see all the nice new green stuff that popped up this year. There's also some Japanese beetles, which I didn't even know they liked blackberries, and they absolutely devoured my green beans, but there's not much I can do about them. So if you look at this chunk of plant, you can see all these little brown looking buds. These were all blackberry flowers. So I was not lacking blackberry flowers. It was just a matter of actually translating to fruit, which it did not. So that's kind of unfortunate, but hopefully next year will be a lot better. And who knows, I might even come back to inspect the property and take a video of the blackberry harvest next June. So here's a look at it before. Not very well spaced out. Definitely this way, everything's leaning to the left, which is good. I do want it all on one side. But over here you can see that it's all pretty lopsided. They're all still kind of leaning toward the left side of this. So we're gonna fix that, fluff them all up, let them air out, and give them their own room to grow. All right, the blackberry patch is cleaned up. It looks so much better without all that old dead junk. We kept 3 of the strongest looking canes. All of them are looking strong compared to last year, but we've got a total of 9 canes, 3 per 3 feet. And then there's one that I left back there. It's one of the stragglers. I think I might actually transplant that, stick it in a pot, and take it with me to Nashville to see if I can start a little blackberry patch there as well. Kind of addicted, it's kind of fun, and I'm really looking forward to actually seeing a harvest instead of doing all the work with no reward. So you probably noticed I tipped all my canes. If you saw before, they were just like 8 or 9 feet tall. And I wanted to stop growing them vertically, and I wanted them to start growing laterally. And so all I did, you'll see on your canes, there's kind of this growth bud. This is just the tip of the cane that's doing all the vertical growing. If you just snip that off, it's immediately gonna start sending out lateral shoots that you can really use to fill out your trellis. Fill out any empty spots, air gaps or whatever. You can just wrap those side shoots right around your trellis fencing or cable or whatever, and you'll have a much better looking blackberry patch. So that's all I've got for today's video. Hopefully it was helpful. I wasn't sure if people wanted to see what it looks like getting rid of second year canes, about how much you prune it back, all that kind of good stuff. But if you enjoyed the video, hit that like and subscribe button. Keep growing yourself, and I'll catch you in the next one in Nashville.